Welcome, LSI, to the F1 Championship, the F1 World Championship for LSI. We're today for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, the Temple of Speed, and we are in qualifying with 6 or so minutes to go, 5 minutes to go on the clock. We have just had Nifo validate their lap and Simaxon back out of another lap, so they're coming out for the final few moments in a moment, but it's going to be Devon across the line to go to P4 and 18.9. Currently, Igor topping the times, and no one is there to beat them for the minute. So very good lap there from them. Becken, welcome back as a reserve driver. Unfortunately, they had some technical difficulties. That did mean that they retired from the qualifying session. Well, they disconnected to restart and rejoin, but the game retired their car. Charlie, not entirely sure what's happened with them, but going off what happened last week with technical difficulties, we can probably assume it was the same scenario right there for them, which is a hell of a shame. We've got Peanuts currently on a lap for Ferrari, and let's see what they can do. The pole time last time around was from Ticey in 18.851, so we're already far gone on that lap. That just shows how much this game has definitely changed in updates, etc. That's Peanuts right behind his old rival from F1.5. So lovely stuff right there. Zingy and Nifo, the championship leader and the reigning champ, currently not having the best of qualifying starts according to their their expectations. Really, they want to try and be up the front spots, as it can be considered very important around here in Monza, but that being said, it can be very, very difficult. Unfortunately, Peanuts has gone and got himself an immediate time penalty, as they have done this a couple of times now, but they don't seem to really remember that it's a rule. That is unfortunate for Peanuts, but oh well, it happens. We'll go on board with Zingy now, and we'll see what they can do. Obviously, they're doing the out lap, so they won't be on a lap for a while yet. Now, Zingy, they've had a P2, a P3, and a P1. That's in Austria, the Netherlands, and Singapore, winning their favourite race around Singapore. Currently 50 points to their championship, 5 points ahead of Simaxon, who hasn't won a race this season so far. They've got a P4, a P2, and a P2, but they have fought for the victory in every single one of those races. So they're going to look to try and do that again, but hopefully be the one that comes out on top this time around. Time penalty wise, it's definitely been a tricky one for many cars this season, so that's definitely going to be a big factor in the race today. It's Monza after all. It can be very tricky. It can also bring some unfair time penalties, and we have to look at that for places such as Ascari, but it could be anywhere in the F1 game, really, not only at Monza. So we do have to make sure that we take all time penalties with a pinch of salt. Now you see Zingy pulling to the right-hand sides to go off the bumps, and then they'll go to the left as they get to the end of the straight to prepare for the braking zone, 125 meters, and then turn in second or third gear, and they're going to ride that sausage curb. They get some very nice rotation that seemed to work for them, using a bit of ERS as they go down. And they continue. Have they backed off already? I'm not entirely sure, but the engine revs just dropped all of a sudden, and they did back off. So I think riding that curb wasn't really an intention of theirs, and that will be their lap done. We've actually got Igor, the current pole sitter, who is on the lap, going through turn 2. A big snap on the exit, as you could see the car wiggle about. They've got to be careful. They've got to be very, very careful. Over the sector line, what's it going to be for Eager Pro and the Aston? It is going to be a 10th down on their lap right now, but P6 Nifo is, well, I wanted to see where they would be. It didn't really allow us to get an idea of where they were going to be. Fairly nicely over the curves, but definitely could have found a bit more time there. This was their final opportunity at it, though. They want that clean air. They want a second try if they do make a mistake. So will they back out, or will they continue? It looks like Igor is continuing to try and set this lap time. They go for Ascari, almost invalidating a brilliant amount of pace that they've just carried through that corner. The final corner will come up, and this will be their final charge in qualifying to try and hold on to that top spot. They have the position, but is it going to be theirs for long? Are they going to be able to take it? That's DRS not across the line, because you go across the line first, and it is going to be a brilliant comeback on that lap, but unfortunately no improvement will come around. It's going to be Nifo backing off to go again. Zingy is on another lap once again and looking to go pretty quick. We're going to get the Red Bull of Devon Young starting a lap. We're going to get Nifo starting their final run, and Samaxon, it's Peanuts, who's going across the line to start a final run as well. So it is going to be one of the McLarens, which will be Heichler, to finish off the session for the first time. What's it going to be? Of course, Eagle has already set their lap, so it's going to be Heichler, and 18.9 right now. Will they compete for that top spot? When it comes to it, will they look at the front row? They pull to the right hand side to minimize the distance, and it's going to be provisional pole, a 4.50. Samaxon can't do anything about it. They do not improve. Jericho Willis in P8. It's going to be Zingy to P4. Zingy P4, and JJ will cross the line to make it a 19.8, but they will not improve position wise. That will be how they end up. It's going to be Devon Young next, but no, they've invalidated. So it's going to be Nifojan, who's currently in P7, and they are still looking to try and set an improvement time, and then it will be Peanuts who will go across the line. So we've got P7 and P6 to go through. Will they be able to improve? Heichler looking to try and get another pole position again, and I think it could very well look like it's theirs. A brilliant margin to find at the end. Nifo, will they have a look at it? Will they go? No, it's to the pit lane. Peanuts invalidates, and that is going to be qualifying decided. That is Heichler on the top step. On the top step of the qualifying podium, they're still going to try and do something if they want to try and win a race. Of course, Heichler take victory in the first part of the event with qualifying under their belt, and that is Eager Pro P2 and Samaxon in P3. A brilliant qualifying position from the Serbian right there. That is the race director. We'll see you in a bit. Here we go then. Ready? Hold. Go! no, who's going to get it into turn one? We're finally away. Heisler on the outside line. It's Zingy. Is that Zingy trying to push through? On the inside, it's the yellow helmet. That's maybe even Nifo. Igor, the inside line. The race lead for a moment. Will he be able to hold on to it? He does. Zingy P3. A brilliant start ahead of Samaxon, who drops to P4. They've got Nifo right behind. And Peanuts side by side with Devon Young. Devon Young trying to hold on to their rival from last season in F1.5 when they did compete. It's going to be damage to the Red Bull, and unfortunately their race is in a lot of jeopardy right now. What a shame. Charlie sits behind and they're looking to try and find their way through if they can do so far. The clouds are out, but currently it doesn't look like we're going to get any rain. It is Igapro on top, Zingy right behind Heisler and ready to make a move. Already making a move before Ascari, and I don't think Heisler's really going to fight that one too hard. That is a very hungry Zingy right there. The Scotsman doesn't want to wait at all in this race. Samaxon is going to be looking to try and maybe do the same thing if Zingy has just done so. Samaxon holds on behind but will not go for the move this time, and it's going to be Peanuts in P6. Devon Young trying to do what they can. Luckily it is a lot of straight line speed at this circuit, so they could possibly hold on, but Charlie really can't afford to wait behind a damaged car. They've got to go for the move, and they will go for it, and Devon is not going to fight that one. Jericho Willis will sit behind, and we're going to have the Alpine of Becken right behind and followed by JJ at the back of the pack. It's going to be side by side, and Samaxon will try and follow the Scotsman as well. The long way around, the space is going to be given plentiful. It's going to be Zingy having a look and forcing Igor to make a bit of a throw, and it will not be Samaxon making the move. What a defense there on the battery. Definitely force Samaxon to break away, or sorry, back off, but now they are definitely down on the battery a little bit, and 9/10 splits them. They're gonna get the DRS, but they're very lucky that the DRS is kicked in here, because they almost lost out, and Igor and Zingy could have possibly broken away, and they slipstream train just to make it a little bit more beneficial as well. That was crucial. Zingy pushed Igor, really pushed him to try and push himself, and then they tried to use a bit of a slipstream train and break away, and it could still happen. It very much could still happen. Zingy pushes a little bit harder, and they are now out of DRS range. Will Heisler open up that rear wing, or is it going to be all over? Samaxon's going to have to try and save the day here with the DRS. Heisler does not get the DRS. Samaxon will go through, and they're hoping for a slingshot, but it will be a switch up with Zingy and Igor, and they will continue to work together. Unless Samaxon can find a little bit more pace, it's not going to be so simple. That's a yellow or a ghost car right there. I don't quite know what happened, but it's going to be Charlie ahead of Peanuts as Devon Young now goes back to P10 and behind Becken, another old rival from seasons ago. That's the tyre situation. As you can see, Igor and Zingy are doing exactly what they need to do. They're hoping that there would be a bit more of a fight behind, but it didn't really happen. And it's medium tyres for the top two. It's medium tyres for the other Mercedes Nifo in P5. It's medium tyres for Peanuts, Jericho, Becken and Young, but not Young, sorry, and Becken. It will be hards for everybody else. So we're in a bit of an interesting situation here, and currently Samaxon is really a big pain in the rear end of Zingy and Igapro, because they are once again holding on with that hard tyre, as we saw in Singapore. So very good effort right now, and it's just going to make their race a little bit more easy. Now Zingy is going to be looking to try and make that move, but it's Samaxon who might have a go, even if they really wanted to. I don't think they would do so. It's not worth the risk, but they do get the fastest lap. That is absolutely awesome right there from the Ferrari driver. Zingy leads the race one more time. A race winner this season so far, as well as Igor, and then that is not a race winner in Samaxon, Heisler or Nifo. The next race winner is Charlie. Those are the three that have taken victory this season, and that is it. We've only done 3 races. This is the 4th, so could we see another race winner in 4 races? That would be absolutely incredible to see for sure. We've got Heisler, who's still not able to hold on to the back of Samaxon, and I thought they just held on to DRS range. They might be lucky to get it here, but it could be all over, and they don't get the DRS DRS as they went wide on the exit of the first Lesmo, and it will be GG. Nifo is going to get a clear opportunity to catch up and maybe make a move here on Heischler, but other than that, it's not going to be so possible. They've got damage themselves, actually, so they're hoping that they can hold on to this DRS, but it's going to be Charlie who will probably be making this move, and they're on the hard tyre. They're only going to get quicker from this point onwards. I don't know where that damage came from, but it must have been a little bit of a combination of when Devon got their damage earlier on. The train sticks together except from where Heischler misses out, but they're using the battery to try and catch up. It's going to be Charlie on Nifo. It's going to be Nifo backing off. It's going to be Peanuts to the inside of the Mercedes. They're going to go side by side. Are they going to switch up, or is it going to stay as it is? It's a drag race to the second chicane. Nifo didn't want to give that one up, but Peanuts does go through. They don't have the damage and they have the confidence, so it is going to be a bit of a painful one there for Nifo, but they did just have to let that one happen. Double overtake right there, and there's nothing they can really do about it. That is going to be a time penalty there for Devon, unfortunately, as they now are P11 in this race, still in the train, but that damage is really not easy to deal with. They're holding on as best as they possibly can, and then they'll be looking to go to that medium tyre a little bit earlier than they would have probably wanted. There's a switch up with JJ and Beckham right there, as JJ makes it to P9. Zingy and Eager Pro still lead the way, but it's Samakton who's actually very, very close this time. They don't push for the move. That would have definitely put a bit of panic in the cars behind, and that could have given them a bit of an advantage, but they don't worry about it. Heischler, in the meantime, has been brought back into this battle as the switching is being contested. It's going to be Samakton putting a lot of pressure on the Scotsman. The Scotsman trying to hold on, trying to put the battery on, and not allow the Ferrari to go through, but also not trying to overtake the Aston Martin. It allows everybody to bunch up massively. Charlie will come into this, Peanuts will come into this, and we've got Nifo, who's still, despite having that damage, is in the DRS train. And then we do have Becken, who doesn't have the DRS train, unfortunately, as JJ maybe made a mistake. I don't know if they were fighting or something happened, but that DRS is now gone, and they've got to do something about it if they want to catch back up. JJ and Devon, of course, are sat behind at the moment. Devon just trying to hold on, and they've got a lot of understeer in that car because of that damage. That's why they've got that time penalty on lap 6 out of 27. It's Eager Pro who loses the position but holds on and stays P2. That's exactly what they're looking for right here, but that's a mistake, and it's going to be Samakton who takes it through Ascari. Eager Pro is going to lose another position as well, as Heischler will push through. Charlie is not going to have the opportunity to go for the move, but all of a sudden from P1 to P4 in a matter of corners, that was not expected right there. Charlie going wide on the exit. I don't know if they were going over track limits or if I'm just seeing things, but Zingy now leads the way. Samakton's going to be putting the pressure on, and I think they're going to have to allow Samakton to go through, because Igor's putting the battery on as well to get ahead of Heischler. There's contact, there's understeer, there's demon dragging. It's never going to work if you don't leave more space than you really need to. They tried to do so. Igor will just hold on, but that was very, very unnecessarily risky right there from these guys. It was very, very tight into the first corner, which is only going to make it more difficult, and then they continued to make it very tight on the exit. Just need to try and open up the steering a little bit more and allow each other a bit more room, and they won't have moments like that. They're lucky to get away with it this time, but that could have been definitely their race is over and a safety car out if that went very slightly differently. Now Peanuts hasn't been able to hold on to the train ahead as the hard tyres are in this mix, and they're looking pretty quick. It's going to be Igor trying to stay ahead, or trying to get ahead of Heischler through Ascari. Heischler goes off the circuit. It's going to be Charlie coming through on the inside line. Now the outside line it will be for them. Will they get it? They will do so. That's a P3. It's a big slipstream train, but it's not DRS. So Heischler and Igor is going to be coming back very, very quickly, almost immediately. Cars going off as they fight very, very hard. They are lucky to stay in this. It's going to be Charlie losing the positions, and I don't think they're really going to be able to question anything. Igor wanted to have a quick look, but they just have to back off, and that is how powerful the DRS is. Believe it or not, Charlie not having the DRS still was able to catch up, unless they did get DRS and I missed something there. But Samaxon and Zingy trying to decide their positions, that definitely meant that they lost out a lot, and they will be brought back into this train immediately. And almost Jericho Willis being able to get through and find their way to the train as well. 2 tenths they've got as they pass Peanuts. It's Nifo who sat right behind Peanuts. They've got to try and hold on because this train is very quick, and if they can get in that DRS, then they will have a very nice advantage. But they have to wake up. They have to push a bit more, otherwise it will be game over. Currently Jericho Willis doing a good job, but it's not enough at the moment. The top 5 are absolutely unstoppable. Jericho Willis loses a tenth as they go down the straight, and they're only going to lose more time, so they're going to have to hope that Peanuts will go through and then push themselves on the start-finish straight. Maybe even Nifo, if they can try and push with a bit of ERS despite having that damage. You know, even if you have the damage, if the train up ahead is so quick in the straights but slow in the corners, maybe that slow speed corner situation might be enough for them to catch up. We're going to get a switch as we see Samaxon into P1. Charlie bleeding off the brakes to try and avoid contact from behind, and they were getting as close as they could to Zingy right there, but still, despite all of their efforts, Heischler makes contact with the rear end of that racing bull. Not going to be happy, but luckily nothing will come of it, and they will just have to relax. Igor still trying to spot their braking points and putting the pressure on the McLaren, but nothing will really come from it. It's going to be Peanuts ahead, but 0.6 of a second now, not really gaining anything out of it. So yeah, it's a shame, but it's a very difficult situation to be in, and they've just got to deal with it. Jericho Willis is going to have another opportunity to try and catch up and push us again when they do get to this train situation. As these guys, of course, drive, they are breaking away from Devon, Becken, and JJ. Devon, despite having that damage, is the lead of this hack. There's Igor following this train behind. A lovely camera angle, seeing everything as we should. And there is Samaxon leading into the final corner. This time, though, it could be a little bit different. Who leads into the first corner, as they're all incredibly close? Are they going to be using the battery, or are they going to be pushing? I don't know. It's not going to be a push. And believe it or not, despite everybody being so close, we're not going to get a single switch. We're going to get contact. Oh no! Charlie makes contact with Zingy. Zingy makes contact with Samaxon. Samaxon is losing out. It's going to try and hold on to that lead if they can. And somehow, out of all of that, they have done. It's going to be Igor and Heischler pushing. Heischler's trying to make it a P1 if they can. The inside line is to Heischler now, as they're going to take the racing line and not allow Samaxon any room at all. It's going to allow Igor to come through ahead of Zingy, trying to still stick their nose in beside the Serbian driver, though. Charlie just has to watch this happen. It's never going to go right, surely. They still keep it side by side, and now DRS is available. They're lucky to be in this scenario. They're lucky to be able to push in the way that they are. But that was very, very risky, and somehow everyone is absolutely fine. I say that, everyone's absolutely fine, and a bit more, as Jericho Willis and Peanuts have caught up to this battle. And what a shame for Nifo, right? Nifo's just pitted to try and get an undercut, but if they waited a lot more, that battling would have allowed them to get back into that train. What a shame. Igor takes it to the pit lane, and it's also going to be, who's that? Peanuts into the pit lane as well. So the calls are definitely being made. It's going to be the inside line for Charlie, and there's nothing Zingy can do about it. They're going to have to let this one go, surely. But no, they will stick their nose into turn 2, and they're going to try and hold on the exit. They have to leave the space. As we saw earlier on, it gets very tight right there, and now Charlie is going to push for it. This time, Zingy's going to let him go for it. He's not really going to bother him at all, because he knows that Charlie is pushing on the energy, and that if they can push on the energy, they can catch back up to that train, and Charlie is on the very edge of doing that. They have to push a little bit more, but Heischer and Samaxon, the duo for when it comes to the pit situation, they kind of just drive together before they go into the pit lane. They are now leading the way, and no DRS is available for Charlie, so it is Zingy who who's going to have the advantage. It's going to be Heischler and Samaxon switching positions and using this DRS train. And they will be looking to possibly go into the pit lane, as we've had 2 pit stoppers already. 3 pit stoppers, I should say, sorry. And actually Becken as well has made their stop. So they will be getting undercut from Becken if they're not careful. The advantage that they do have is that it's a very high-speed circuit, so you don't really suffer so much from tyre wear, but it is still a very difficult one, and you want to have the best tyres possible. Zingy not able to hold on with Charlie as they actually go into the pit lane instead, so they were able to, but they decided to make the call into the pit lane as they didn't have the DRS to the top 2. That means that Charlie is left completely vulnerable, as Jericho Willis wasn't able to make that move because there was a gap all of a sudden made in between as Zingy peeled away. Now, Zingy, where are they going to come out relative to where Igor is? Igor is going to pass them and be ahead. It's going to be by a little bit. It's going to be very marginal, but they wouldn't want to fight each other into the first corner at all. They want to try and work together here. Peanuts as well, with this undercut, could they try and work together as well? That's actually a time penalty for Nifo. 3 seconds for JJ Nifo and Devon Young at this stage of the race. Lap 12 out of 27, and the top 2 are going to have to make a decision whether they pit or not. Of course they don't need to. The tyre situation is very different. Jericho Willis is trying to follow a hard tyre strategy despite being on the medium. See if they can get a bit of an overcut instead of an undercut. These guys are going to continue to not worry because they know that their tyre advantage later on will be so severe. Now, using the DRS train to their advantage, they will continue. Charlie left out of this. They can't do anything about it. Very frustrating when you're not in the train and there are 2 cars ahead in the train. It wasn't the best of trains actually up in front though, as Charlie just gains DRS automatically. They lost about half a tenth right there, did Samaxon and Heischler. So Heischler making that move, and it didn't really work out. They weren't able to hold it together, and they do lose out. That is going to be Zingy and Eager Pro making the move ahead of Jericho Willis, who comes out of the pit lane in P7 in between Peanuts and the cars ahead. Do they have the DRS ahead? They don't. So it could be a similar situation to what they had earlier on, but they're hoping that when the other cars go into the pit lane, then they're going to definitely make it a bit more mixed up and maybe fill in the gaps. It's going to be Samaxon ahead of Heischler, with Charlie now in that train. Heischler gets a 3 second in the meantime as they go for Ascari. That is an interesting one. Is that a bug or is that legitimate? Is that something that we're going to have to look at after this race? And will we see any pit stops, or will these guys continue on their way in this Grand Prix? 27 laps of Monza. They've currently done 13. The pit lane's to the right, but it will not be used. It will be DRS used instead. Will Charlie try and push through as well? They will not. They're now finally in the DRS for the first time in a long time, and they are just allowing themselves to relax a bit more, save a bit more on this tyre, make use of the strategy that they currently have, because they could definitely have a bit more power later on. It's going to be JJ not pitting once again and trying to cause a bit of drama between the other cars. They've actually got damage on their car. They're trying to use the battery, but they've got DRS. It's not really working out. That is Zingy using all the battery they possibly can. It's going to be a heavy braking manoeuvre right there from JJ, as they have to do so with that damage. It's going to be Zingy and Eagle braking away, and they will now continue. 21 seconds to the cars behind directly, and that is the net race leader at the moment. But JJ once again doing what they can for their teammate right here. It's Nifo 2.7 seconds behind, as they weren't able to be in that DRS train with the damage, of course, despite having that undercut. I'm trying to have a look at their front wing just to see if they did get that front wing change. They did. It's just that's how powerful the DRS is, and it really makes it difficult to catch up. And now JJ is going to have the next victim of, or be the next victim to Nifo, as they will just allow them to pass. There is no reason to fight. And they will continue on their merry way. Now 2.7 seconds to Peanuts and Jericho, up ahead, of course, with that time penalty situation as well. We'll continue to see a switch, and we will continue to see a very slow turn 1 and 2 from the top 3 at the moment, and that will not help them in the quest to use this train, of course. Now, only as a pair is Igor and Zingy, so they are able to freely kind of break and train with each other, whereas when you're in a 3, it gets a little bit more difficult, a little bit more intense, and you can actually lose a bit of time. 19.9 seconds now, gaining a huge amount of time is Igor and Zingy. Will it be enough for them to break away from that medium tyre when the top 3 do jump onto that medium tyre for the rest of the race? I don't quite know, but if they're going to continue with this DRS train, it might just be alright. It might just be alright, and depending on how time penalties go, they might continue to be alright, because currently Heischler is in a very difficult situation. They did get that time penalty at Ascari, so it does have to be taken into consideration, but the chances are that is a legitimate penalty. There's a chance that it's not, but the chances it is. That's Charlie into the pit lane, making that call. So the other two are going to have to try and follow on, or they will be at the mercy of the Racing Bull driver. Heischler goes ahead of Samaxon in the meantime as well. And on the exits, they will hold on and try and push. Heischler leads into the second chicane, and they're doing their best to maintain pace ahead of Zingy and Igor, who are now 19.1, almost 18 seconds behind, and it's really looking good. Not looking good for Igor, who's all of a sudden a ghost car. Is he disconnected? It must have. Unfortunately, despite doing such a good effort in this race, now a lifeline to Zingy as well. Zingy's going to be all on their own, and Igor is disconnected and will not be in this race for the next few laps. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Oh, and Nifo's been disqualified for driving the wrong way. Driving the wrong way as they spin on the second Lesmo. They try and turn the car around, and that's them out of the Grand Prix. I haven't seen this in a mighty long time, and we've seen another non-points position there for Nifojan, once not starting a race in the first 3 races of the season, and now we get to the 4th, and they will be disqualified as they try and rejoin. Absolutely extraordinary. I don't know how that just happened. And Igor continues to have more problems right here. It's going to be side by side with the likes of Charlie, Jericho Willis, Sir Maxon, and Heischler, and Peanuts, and Igor Pro's AI, who once again gets more connection issues after immediately joining the session. I do not believe what I am seeing. It's Heischler to the inside line as they'll have to go slightly side by side, and Peanuts to P6. Absolutely incredible stuff. Igor rejoins and leaves immediately again. I don't understand how this has just happened, but connection issues have come into one driver, and poor game design has affected another. Absolutely tragic in this race result. Zingy leads by 3 seconds, but how long will that be for? Jericho Willis, making good progress on this hard tyre for the last 4 laps, has found themselves in P3. Charlie going for that undercut is ahead of Samaxon and Heischler, and Peanuts is just waiting behind nice and patiently. Igapro trying to rejoin, but it's not really looking so good, is it? They've tried to join multiple times, and I think it's going to be their race done. Absolutely tragic. I don't know what to say. I'm really, really angry. I'm not showing a massive amount of frustration on live stream right now, but I am really angry. We'll continue with the racing as Heischler will get ahead, and it's going to be the Ferrari of Sir Maxon also following ahead of Jericho Willis, and Peanuts will just watch on behind, as that is going to be a lag spike right there, it looked like, but nothing really comes of it. I think they continue on their way. 2.5 seconds, Zingy leads the way. Igapro joins again, and hopefully this time they don't disconnect so they can at least finish the Grand Prix and salvage what's left of it. After fighting for another victory this season, that would have been absolutely brilliant for their championship campaign. Charlie, P2, gains 3/10 in the meantime on the race leader, and Heischler is going to be looking to push on the battery and gain even more time on the Silver Arrow out in front. Lap 19 out of 27. We are coming to really what will be the closing stages of the Grand Prix in a fair few laps. But it's not going to get any less intense as it already has been so far. Even more so, actually. Charlie now to P3 and Heischler 1.9 seconds back, gaining an extra 3/10 just down one straight. Zingy can't do anything about it. They will potentially have a bit of tyre advantage towards the end. That's what they've got ahead of them. But other than that, they're just going to have to use their experience, their 140-something races to their name. They're going to have to try and use that to their advantage. 6 championships. What have they learnt? Will they be able to hold on? Monza has not been the kindest circuit to them in the past. They've still won here, and they've still finished on the podium every other time, except from one, where they finished P11. 1 DNF as well. They currently have a very good record. That's what you can really see. A bad record for Zingy is multiple podiums and a race victory. Are they going to be able to make that too? Is it going to be another podium? Charlie currently P2 as they go ahead of Heischler. And it's also, actually no, Heischler is now going to try and go ahead of Charlie once again. So Maxon just sits behind as they know they are inevitably going to catch up to the Scotsman. 1.2 seconds, and it will be by the end of this lap that they do so. Zingy is not really going to be pushing at all. They're just going to have to let this happen. I think they're hoping that the cars behind will battle or some sort of incident will happen, and that's the advantage that they have right now by having that trap position. But other than that, it may not be enough, as that is going to be an incident. It's going to be an issue, and it's going to be Charlie down the order, and it's going to be Sir Maxon slowed up because of that. Oh wow, absolutely incredible. And guess what? The only one with DRS to Zingy is the one with a time penalty, and this is exactly what Zingy was hoping for. I said they weren't pushing. They actually were. I did just last second see their battery, and they were pushing, and it's exactly what they were looking for. Now they've got to hope that Jericho Willis goes for the move to Sir Maxon, otherwise they will not be able to hold on. Believe it or not though, Sir Maxon has found some pace, and they will be in that DRS train. Absolutely incredible. They bring the American driver with them as well, with a fastest lap for Heischler. In the meantime, the outside line is available, and Zingy isn't going to contest that one with a time penalty runner. Now here's the thing, Zingy can use this to his advantage. He can use this. He can use Heischler to help him win this race. However, Zingy still needs to try and cross the line in first just to make sure that it is safe. We double check the time penalty situation. It's JJ with 6 seconds who will still look at scoring at least a point. Last season, they got the fastest lap around here in Monza, so they could make it 2 points, but as long as they finish this race, they will score at least 1. Heischler leads the way for the first time since they had that pole position start. Zingy, P2, Sir Maxon in P3. A lucky escape for them on that medium tyre. They have the advantage over the car directly in front of them, but definitely have had to use a lot of energy, a lot of resource to catch back up that gap. Jericho Willis doing a phenomenal job on this tyre as well. Very difficult situation for them to be in, and as well as Peanuts as well, who's currently rearing this battle at the moment. Charlie, P5 on that medium tyre. They're looking to try and make a move and make some progress from what they lost just a few moments ago. Zingy, will they push for that move, or are they going to allow to stay behind? Because Sir Maxon isn't putting any pressure on. It's going to be Jericho Willis having a quick look to the inside line, as they didn't want to make contact with the Ferrari ahead. Just over 5 laps of this Grand Prix remain. It's going to be Heichler going off track, it looked like there just for a moment. That could be deciding if there was a double warning that Heichler had got. Or maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe they've just got another track limit and it will be legitimate. I don't quite know. No one quite knows. But Heichler was trying to push. Whether that's the case, or is Zingy trying to back up so he can use the energy, he can use the gap ahead of him to push and not allow any car behind to be bunched up and then make that move? Well, we'll find out what the situation is right now. DRS available for Zingy. It's going to be Sir Maxon who is definitely putting the pressure on this time, and they'll go to the lead of the Grand Prix by the first corner. Zingy will follow on. They're going to try and get ahead of Heichler, but no, it will be side by side with Heichler and Sir Maxon. Zingy to the inside line. It's going to be a drag race into the first chicane. He tucks him behind, and I think he may have even given up already. They aren't going to worry about it. That will leave them very vulnerable to the Racing Bull car, but the Racing Bull will not try and contest it. As this battle happens, Peanut still loses out. There's a car off. That's Jericho. No, it's not. It's Heichler. Heichler into the barrier, and down the order they go. Absolutely tragic. I did not expect that one. And Zingy is getting affected by everything. I do not believe it. The time penalty runner that was going to be crucial to their success in this race, Pro, who was going to be crucial to their success in this race with the train, they have both out. They are both the high. I don't know what I'm saying. I've absolutely lost it, and I'm sure Zingy's lost it as well. Simaxon and Charlie are going to be absolutely thrilled. The two Polish drivers are looking to try and get their second victories in LSI. Zingy, I don't know how many he's trying to get, but he's just trying to get another one this season if they can. As they've won Singapore, they're trying to get one back to back. They're trying to get the double. He's on the inside line. It's lap 24, and they are going to look at maybe taking that lead, or they're just going on the offensive to defend. And it's currently looking like it's going to be successful. Charlie can't do anything about it. It's now going to be a drag race to the chicane. It's going to be an ERS saving race as they box Charlie in. Do the top two right now. There's nothing that Charlie can do about it, and they just have to back off and be safe. Oh, Zingy! Zingy gets a time penalty. They get a time penalty that was either on the exit or the inside of turn 5. That would have been. I did not expect that one, and now everything is completely wide open. The two Polish drivers have the best opportunities, but Jericho Willis could even be on for their first victory in LSI F1. What a story that would be. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Lap 25 is about to start. It's going to be Sir Maxon who wants to try and make a move ahead of Zingy, and if they can have a time penalty runner in between them and the car behind, then they have one hand on the trophy already for that top spot, and that would be the championship lead, quite possibly, to Sir Maxon as well. Actually, 5 points difference it would not be, but they would gain that gap back unless he drops even further. It's going to be Simaxon, the inside line, and the lead just momentarily, but they're switching on the timings. They're trying to turn off their battery and allow each other to go through, but it's not going to work out for Simaxon this time, as Charlie will get there to the inside line. Is Simaxon. They try and go a little bit wide to force Charlie a little bit wider, but it's not going to work out, and Charlie now is going to go side by side again. Zingy backing up the pack, trying to cause the maximum amount of chaos, trying to cause the cars to fight, trying to cause them to make mistakes and get track limits themselves. And now you can see he pushes 7/10. He's trying to break away from DRS and hope that something happens, as he did earlier on. Just for a moment, it worked earlier on. Now the odds are definitely against him, even more so than ever before, but they're pushing with all their might. They're using all the experience they have. It's difficult tactics, but it's definitely working. Charlie and Sir Maxon are obeying at the moment, but it's not going to be for long, as we're about to start the penultimate lap of the Italian Grand Prix. What's going to happen here in Monza? Charlie sits behind and they continue to try and stay behind as they want to get the DRS for the last moments. That's what they're looking for. This time Charlie decides to go for it. They are definitely trying something a little bit different. They thought, you know what? Zingy was trying to push earlier on. I might try and push myself. I'm on the medium tyre. Zingy's on the hard. There's nothing that Sir Maxon can do about it, and they're just going to have to bay that hard tyre. Could this be a strategy? Could this be the victory strategy? I don't know, but it's not going to be easy, is it? They're now going to have to turn the battery off. I think it's too late. It hasn't worked out, and they're going to have to hope for the final lap to go their way. Here we go. It is the final lap coming up. Everyone's going to have to decide what they're doing. It's still not over, though, on the penultimate one, as it was an attempt at an overtake here for Sir Maxon. 9/10. Oh, Charlie may have even done it. It may be working. Sir Maxon's trying to use the battery to come through. But no, it's all going to change. And I don't believe what I've just seen. What have I just seen? Absolute incredible stuff. All of a sudden, Charlie is breaking away. I don't know if Zingy is trying to fight this as he doesn't think it's a legit time penalty, or if it's maybe a championship strategy as he's trying to force Sir Maxon to lose more points than he can. That's exactly what it looks like is happening, and they'll continue to fight. Sir Maxon will lose, and more again. That's Jericho Willis to the outside line, but they'll back off as they're not going to try and get involved in anything right here. Sir Maxon and Zingy, they're championship rivals, and Zingy is trying to slow down the one that is most likely to take the championship fight to them. Charlie looking for their second victory of the season, and maybe they could be a contender at this rate. It could be possible. Lap 27, and everything has changed, and out of all of this, once again, another difficulty in qualifying is not going to stop Charlie from looking at victory in a Grand Prix this season. Sir Maxon does eventually get through, and Zingy doesn't fight it too hard this time, but it doesn't matter. Sir Maxon is gonna be furious, but I think he's gonna understand what the situation is. Using the battery, the outside line will be available. Are they really gonna try and get the position as well as the cherry on top? The inside line should be advantageous for Sir Maxon, but it will not be enough. Charlie wins the Italian Grand Prix, and it's gonna be Sir Maxon who gets the P2 spot in the end. Jericho Willis on the podium with Peanuts in P4, and that is Zingy P5. Absolutely incredible stuff we've seen just there, and I don't know what to say. That is 4.2 seconds away from the race leader for Zingy there in the end. A difficult one, but I think that was very tactical and very legitimate. Sir Maxon's going to be furious, but there's nothing that he could do. He did exactly the same to Zingy in Austria, and he's just got his payback. That is absolutely incredible. Charlie is a race winner again in LSI. It's a pole 1-2 with Jericho Willis in P3. Peanuts, Zingy, Heischler with the fastest lap, then Eager Pro, Becken in P8, Devon Young, JJ, and disqualified for not really their fault is Nifo. That is that one done. We go through the race director just in case, and then we will of course go through the pit stop section, and we will be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Italian Grand Prix. That was absolutely crazy in the end. We start the interviews with Peanuts. Peanuts, that was a pretty mixed one, and the strategies came in. It mixed everything back up. You were right there for the entire time, and you've made it P4. Can you take us to your race?
Yeah, no, my race was actually quite interesting. I realized that I was on the medium, which is the softer tire to begin with, and was able to stick with the guys for at least a little bit. Then I dropped out from a stupid mistake. And then I thought that they were going to lose more time squabbling, but then people started pitting. And then I think that cooperation started, kind of getting into the picture. It was a good race from my point of view. I just need to learn how to push alone because I feel like I just expect I'm gonna undercut people and I never do.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult one to do around Monza because it's so straight line speed based. So I think it's definitely possible, but it is just a difficult one, especially around this circuit. Imola, very different, although in the same country. Whether you're there or not, and whether the race happens there or not, do you think you can do well there? Do you like that circuit?
I think here's the thing. From a driver point of view, Imola is a lot more fun, in my opinion, than Monza. But Monza is basically just like straight line speed. So if you got straight line speed, you're basically somewhat okay sticking in DRS unless you make a quite big mistake. That race was smothered with mistakes for me. Was quite tired, only had slept like 5 hours and like 4 the night before that. But I did try my best. We did well. I just want to say shout out to ever consistent Mr. Simixon.
He did do a very good job, and you got some very good points for the championship. I'm trying my best to calculate what you currently have, and I believe it is 85 points, and that would bring you to the lead of the team's championship as well, and the drivers by 1 point. So congratulations to Ferrari for that one. That's if my calculations are correct. Well done, Peanuts. Thank you very much today. Really good effort, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, well, that was very, very frustrating. Of course, first of all, damage. Didn't quite get to see what happened, but I'm sure you can explain that to us. And then the game disqualifying you. Can you take us to your race?
Yeah, I'm using Monza, so a lot of things can happen, but yeah, I was expecting a little bit bad. I was expecting it to be bad as I qualified like in the middle, and then I had a great start where I was basically where I needed to be. And then the next turn I got Devon decides to overtake Peanuts, even though there's 4 cars ahead of me. And then myself, so there's 5 cars ahead of him, and I just break at a normal point. I keep consistent distance with Maxon in front of me. He's 2 tenths behind me, manages to hit me. I'm full on the brake, and even with the 2 tenths gap to Maxon, managed to hit him, and my wing is gone. So yeah, I have to drive the whole race with damage. Can't do anything. I'm just getting eaten alive. I have to pit so much earlier than everybody else, so my tires are just completely dead. I still don't have DRS at any point. So I just had to push like a maniac to just try and save something. I got close, but again, like I think it was Peanuts and someone else in front of me, and they have like 3-lap newer tires, and they have DRS off each other, so they can just chill, save ERS, whatever. And I have to push every lap, like my life depends on it. Yeah, and then ultimately I make a mistake. It's just a result of that. Even the time penalties, were all because of the wing damage. And then yeah, I make one mistake and I fly off into last most one because I overpushed a little bit too much, and then I couldn't rejoin because I would have rejoined into somebody else. So I was just waiting for everybody to go past, and by that time the game was like, well, you've stood still long enough, so it disqualified me for facing the wrong way, which was fun. But yeah, it is another race where things went incredibly well from the start. So yeah, it was not a great one.
It's a tough one, but we'll keep some optimism. You're a previous race winner around Imola. Do you like that circuit?
Honestly, I just want a race where I either don't get a disadvantage because of the safety car, or get hit, or spin. I just want to just have a normal race, honestly. Like, and on every track I go to, whether it's a track that fits me, like I think Monza did fit me a lot better than Imola will be. So honestly, it really depends on just if I get hit or if I spin or if there's a safety car. So I don't really know.
Fair enough. All the best. I hope it goes normal for you next time, and we'll see you there. Thank you very much. And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, well, that's 2 this season out of 4. Very, very nice job indeed. That is another victory to your name. It was a difficult one. Do you think if that interesting situation that happened on the last lap or so would have happened, do you think you would have still been able to take the victory?
Maybe not. Not quite sure, but I was like, I figured Zingy was up to some shenanigans, let's say, because of the championship. I don't think he cares about me taking the win, so I just, took it. I think he wanted me to overtake him anyway. And yeah, I don't know. I just pulled through.
Yeah, it definitely works. What happened in qualifying?
Well, the game was again lagging. It was on like 20 FPS, and into the first corner on the hot lap, first braking zone, the game was literally like 3 FPS, and I lost half a second into in sector 1, then another half a second in sector 2, and so on. It was basically enjoyable, and I had to restart the game, and the game just retired me. So yeah, I was out basically.
Yeah, that's very frustrating, and I'm sorry to hear about that one again. I'm not sure if I can do anything about it, but I'll have a look and yeah.
No, it's just the game being the game. It's nothing on your part.
Was there any settings that you tried to change, or did you not?
And I mean, I restarted the game and it was fine. I think it's just a matter of me alt-tabbing in the lobby.
I see.
So
Fair enough. Well, yeah, that's frustrating, but I guess it's the way it goes. And so far, it hasn't actually affected you this season at all. Really well done today. Congratulations to that one. Whether you're there in Imola or not in 2 weeks' time, do you like that circuit?
well, it's 2 weeks' time. So, well, going off of me joining every second race, it's kind of offset, So I think I'll be there. I love that circuit. It's kind of bullshit with the track limits, but I like it. It's
Awesome.
one of my favorite circuits. So.
Well, you've got a good momentum and you like the circuit, so I'm sure it will go absolutely awesome for you. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time. Congratulations. And we move on to Heisler. Heisler, first of all, I want to ask, was that time penalty legitimate? And then, of course, what happened when it all kind of went wrong?
The time penalty was legitimate. It wouldn't really matter in the end because Igor got a penalty as well. I hope it's legitimate, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Yeah, I don't know actually why I was so bad in the race. The only thing I could think of is I didn't change the off diff for this round between quali and race. I usually do it. I usually higher it by 1. But I was, because of practice, a bit scared that I would not have the turning in the slow corners. So I didn't change it. But I think that didn't help me much because I was losing the rear quite a bit sometimes in the chicanes. So I don't think that was a good idea for myself. Yeah, and just the concentration and everything wasn't there today. I had go-karting today as well, so that didn't probably help either with my arms. So yeah, at least it was a nice lap in quali. Actually a perfect lap. I would have loved to watch it back, but I sadly can't stream at the moment, so that's sad. But it was inch perfect. I hit every apex, and it was it could have probably been a little bit better because I hold back a little bit at the end because I didn't want to ruin it. But yeah, that pole gave me some confidence, and I hope I can keep keep that confidence for the rest of the season, because it's gonna be tough now from this position to fight for a championship if I'm gonna lose one round as well.
Yeah, I mean, tough for sure, but you're definitely still in it. So you've got to be in it to win it, and that you're in that position. So at least there's something out of that one. And yeah, have to go back to that qualifying lap. Absolutely awesome to get that gap on everybody there as well. So really well done on that. It's a shame that it didn't work out, but at least you identified the problems going to Imola. 2 weeks time, you can have a rest. Do you think that one will go well for you?
If we're gonna race there, the focus will be on not getting penalties on that track. Yeah, you know my opinion on the track. I think it's absolutely awful on this game. It's a lovely track on every other game and in real life as well, in my opinion. But on this game, they done a really bad job and ruined it completely, in my opinion. So I hope maybe there's a chance it will not go ahead and will be another different track, but if it's Imola, it will probably just be focusing on not getting a penalty.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Heisler. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time. Well done.
Thank you.
We move on to Jericho Willis. Jericho, it was close. You got a podium in LSI F1, not your tier, but a brilliant effort. Do you think you could have maybe had the win?
Well, it was a lot of fun, and the pace was solid. Qualifying was not great, but I knew it wouldn't be so great because that's not really where I focused my attention for this race. So I figured, if I had a good race setup, that would help a lot throughout, especially throughout the stints, and that definitely worked because as we got closer to the end of the stints, I could tell that my pace relative to the other guys was improving a little bit, so I was closing that gap. You ask if I could have had a shot at winning the race, and of course I definitely the thought crossed my mind, but you feel a little bit handcuffed when you're the reserve driver and you're racing against championship contenders. You don't want to mess anybody up. And you could probably see on the live stream that was definitely my focus, with the stuff that Zingy was doing and stuff. It's like, if I really wanted to go for it, I would have went for it. And he probably would have let me go because, I wouldn't affect his outcome at all. But, I felt like, especially at the end of the stint, there wasn't really anybody that I couldn't stay with. And that's the nature of Monza with the, all the different effects that give you all that speed when you're behind somebody. But, if I took the gloves off and went for it, you take on a lot more risk. So things could have gone wrong. So it's easy to say, maybe it could have been different. But, the pace was there to be right there at the end for the win had it stayed in a group. And if I took the gloves off, I think certainly there would have been a chance, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a no pressure situation, which was nice. You can relax a little bit and enjoy it. So, and I did not know how good my race pace would be. And so this was a great little bit of information for tomorrow. So I can go in with a little more confidence that, hey, just kind of keep things clean throughout the race, and you've got the pace to be there in the end. So that's some good information.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, very well prepared for tomorrow, that's for sure. And I think it's fair to say, from what we've just heard there, if you didn't have the reserve driver restriction, you would have been able to absolutely dominate that Grand Prix. Well done. Next race.
Definitely not what I said. So I won't agree with that. I'll go on record not agreeing with that.
Fair enough. Well, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I'm joking.
Okay.
The Imola Grand Prix, the second Italian Grand Prix of the season, is that a good circuit for you?
I haven't done a league race there before. I've only done 5-lap lobby races and stuff, and I really haven't dialed in a setup. I enjoy the track, so I think it'll be fun getting up to speed, which is always a big part of that motivation to try to do your best. So I enjoy it. Hopefully we'll be able to put something together and get some pace, but I really couldn't guess at this point, just without much experience on that track. There's a few tracks this season that'll be like that for me, and this is one of them where I don't really know where my pace is. So we'll just, we'll prepare the best we can, go and enjoy it, and see what happens.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aiko. Really good effort today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
And that's that one done. Moving on to Sir Maxon. Sir Maxon, well, a couple races later, and you get a little bit of a taste of your own medicine there, as Zingy gave the treatment that you gave him in Austria. It's a frustrating one, I'm sure, as you've once again fought for another victory and it's not come around. But I assume you understand why Zingy did what he did, and can you take us through your race overall?
Yeah, so it all started in qualifying. I had a okay first run, but then the second one and the third one was really not good. Just first chicane done incorrectly, lost 2 tenths on both runs. Then in the race, I think a good start from P3. Only lost 1 position, if I remember correctly. And staying with the top 3, top 4 cars with Haish and then also Charlie. Me and Haish had a good run with helping each other with DRS and managed to get away from Zingy and also then Charlie. But before the pits he joined us, and then he tried to undercut us. I mean, me and Haish, we stayed 1 lap more on the track and only lost, I think, 2 seconds, which was still worth it in the end. And I don't know what to really say about the last few laps. Trying to position my car correctly, didn't really manage to do so. Should have been P2, not P3. Then it probably would have ended another way, and that is how it ended, so can't really change much now. I only hope that Zingy's penalty is legitimate, and I mean, from what he did, I probably expect that it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
sorry.
Yeah. No, I was only going to tell that it's what I still take the P2, Polish 1-2, always a good thing.
Yeah.
And as Charlie is, I would say, more far back than in the championship than Zingy and Haish, then just keeping up. It's why can I just talk today?
No problem at all. I'll take it from there. Really, really good effort, and yeah, it's tough, but it would make sense for why they were fighting so hard, and they had to do something about it. So you're in a close championship, and this is how it sometimes has to go, even though it's incredibly frustrating. That is the second Polish 1-2 of the season, though, and you should be very, very proud of that one. So really well done today, Mr. Consistency. You do lead the Drivers' Championship by 1 point going into Imola. Imola doesn't really have the straight line speed characteristics, so maybe if you were able to be ahead, you wouldn't have the difficulties of being slowed down by someone. I don't know. It could change, of course, but do you like that circuit?
Am I leading by only 1 point?
I believe so, yes, because there's the switch with Zandvoort, and then the points change, so it would be by 1 point.
It would be 1 by 1. Yeah, I think I like Imola. I know that on track limits it would be hard, but the circuit is still good for me, and I think Ferrari also takes constructors. No, it doesn't.
It does. I think it has
Yes, it also does,
85
okay.
points, I believe. I may be wrong. But yeah. So you
So
do
also
take
leading the constructors. Thanks to also thanks to Peanuts for scoring points. Even if it's not that much as I, still they count into the championship and helps with it.
Yeah, it definitely does, and of course against your rival, it makes a lot more of a difference with the unfortunate situation of Nifo today. But still, a very good effort from both of the Ferrari drivers there, and congratulations for another podium. You'll get there eventually this season. I'm sure you will. Thank you very much, Sir Maxon, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, well, I don't know what to say. First of all, Eagle was there to work together with you, and it would have definitely made it probably a little bit more easy before they disconnected. Then you had Heischler to help, as they had a time penalty, and I assume you were probably going to try and work together with them. Then they had an issue, and then you're on your own, and it then kind of went a little bit wrong there with the track limits. You played it very, very tactically, as Sir Maxon did so in Austria, so you had no problem by doing that, I guess. You now only are behind by 1 point instead of it would have been 5 points. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, I mean, the qualifying, as you've seen, was very, very poor, so I had to make up for it in the first corner. I got past, and then got past Igor, I think it was, and then just trying to manage it from there. We got up in the P1 and 2, but Igor made him, keeps on making mistakes, and then rather than breaking away from the pack, which we should have done multiple times during that race, not me and Igor, but just me and others in general, they all just started making mistakes and fumbling. So I'm working my arse off trying to get out of the RS, and I'm just not getting anything in return. And then it compromises me a lot because I've used all my battery, and just for them to, you know, mess up turn 4 or something like that, which is frustrating. And then, of course, I'm pushing the limits, I'm pushing as hard as I can. I get a penalty, that's my own fault. I can't blame anyone else but myself. I can't get it removed either because it's very clear that I did to go over the track limits, so it was very difficult. I seen that Charlie didn't have a penalty, neither did Sir Maxon, and I thought, well, I got to reduce the gap somehow, so I let Charlie go, held to Maxon up as he done to me in Austria, which was at the time very frustrating, but he got what he delivered to me a couple of races ago, so I guess we're even now, so hopefully we can be good friends for the rest of the season.
Indeed, indeed. I'm just going to have to apologise because my printer's decided to clean itself mid-interview. But yeah, very, very well done on the tactical play. It's a shame that you lose your kind of record of, for some reason, Monza being classed as a bad circuit, despite whenever you've scored points you've finished on the podium. Now that doesn't go really quite the same way, P5, but still a decent amount of points, relatively speaking. Imola, that's a very different circuit. I believe you've won there in the past as well. Do you think that's going to go well?
I think I'm just saying what everyone else has said, but in real life and in every other game or simulator you play, it's a beautiful track to drive. You know, the up and down hill, the very nice flowing corners are amazing, but on the F1 game, with the way the cars handle and how fast they are around Imola, it kind of ruins the immersion of the track, and it's just a horrible, horrible track to drive. So, unfortunately, nah, I don't know if it's going to go well. I'm not going to enjoy it, that's for sure. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and hopefully I can make the best out of a bad situation.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Really good effort today. Difficult one, but you made the best out of it, as you said you're hoping to do with Imola. But yeah, thank you very much. Really good effort, and we'll see you next time. And that's been it for the post-race interviews. That's been it for the Italian Grand Prix for the LSI F1 Championship. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for what for now is looking like Imola. Have a good one. Bye-bye.